And our Kevin McCarthy is spending the morning at UMD talking to some college students that are raising and training puppies on campus that will eventually provide greater independence to our nation's heroes. This is always, it's such a wonderful program, Kev.
It's an amazing program. We've been here all morning long, having an amazing morning here at University of Maryland, talking to veterans. And this is an amazing nonprofit organization called America's VetDogs, which basically the dogs are trained and then given to veterans who need help in terms of that. And right now we're talking to a student, Lexi Kruger, who actually is a senior here at University of Maryland. Lexi, good morning to you.
Good morning.
We've been talking all morning about the training process, and one of the cool things that University of Maryland does is it has a connection to America's VetDogs. It's called Terps for Raising Pups. Terps for Raising Pups. And basically the idea is that students volunteer their services to help train the dogs that are eventually given to a veteran. So tell us about your journey and kind of the reason why you wanted to get into this.
Yeah, so I started as a sophomore in college. I'm a senior now, with my first dog, Harbor. I kind of began this partially because I have a love of dogs, which is a great reason to get into this. And it's great because we can bring the dogs with us to class. This is Piper. She's my current dog. And I also just have a lot of love for the program, and I really want to help out with the veterans aspect. I think it's really important to me, especially with family that has served in the military. I really wanted to kind of have that moment to give back, and I also really value that mental health aspect of it and kind of giving back to these people with PTSD or other disabilities.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things that's interesting that I've been learning this morning is the training process is fascinating. It's not just students that are doing it. Like, there are retired U.S. Navy, retired U.S. Air Force members who are training dogs. But one of the things I find fascinating about it is you do eventually have to give the dog to the veteran, which is obviously the whole point of the nonprofit organization. But you do build a bond over that time. So this is the second dog you've worked with. Have you kept in touch with the first dog? And this dog is about a year or so in, so it's close. Piper's actually close to going to the veteran. So tell us about kind of what that emotional process is like for you.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I gave up my first dog in February of this year, and she got placed in June. And I will say it was the hardest thing to give her up. It was so difficult for the first couple months that she was gone. And the moment that I finally got that call that she was matched with a veteran, and then got to speak with her veteran actually on a Zoom call, it was the most rewarding thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for anything, even with all the heartache. I've been super lucky to stay in contact with her veteran. We talk frequently. I see a bunch of pictures of my dog, and
that's great.
It's really interesting because I think the most rewarding part of all of it is you stop hurting and you stop missing them once you realize that it's for that veteran, and she was always meant to be with that veteran. She's serving her purpose now. So with Piper almost being at that milestone, she's going up end of November.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be that same like heartache process, and then hopefully it'll have that same rewarding end where she gets to be with her veteran.
Yeah, and then Piper's going to be able to help a veteran so much, and that's the again, like Lexi said, that's the whole beauty of this, is that it is, while it is a bonding process that you have, the rewarding aspect is that you said you have a lot of your family members that were in the military. My grandfather, Irving Weiner, I want to give a shout out to him for Veterans Day. He served in World War II with the U.S. Navy, passed away earlier this year, and him and my grandmother would have celebrated their 75th wedding anniversary. But you said you actually have a few members of your family who are military.
Yeah, my grandfather, my grandmother, my uncle, and my father all served, so it's definitely a lot of influence there. So they were all very happy when I started doing this, as was I, because I kind of have that family connection there.
Yeah. I'm actually not hearing a timing cue from my producer, so I'm not sure how much time we have left. But I do want to say America's VetDogs is very, very important, and we appreciate your time today. Piper now, as you said, will leave in November. I'm glad that you do stay in touch with the veteran and the dog. Piper is so sweet. And you're a senior, so what's next for you real fast?
Medical school, hopefully. I'm pre-med, so the goal is to go into psychiatry.
Yeah. You want to help people with PTSD, which is exactly kind of what you're doing now in a different way, which is really interesting. So do you think you'll continue doing this?
I hope so. It's my goal to keep it going as long as I can.
Cool. Well, Lexi Kruger, thank you very much for your time this morning. You were wonderful to speak with. This has been an amazing day here at University of Maryland, and thank you to all our veterans for their amazing service to this country. I also want to mention, coming up at 10:45, I'm talking to Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd for a brand new Apple series called The Shrink Next Door, so stay tuned for that. And back to you guys in studio.
All right. Thank you, Kevin.